Hey everyone, it's Tina Lovell here, and I get to be your teacher this week for stamping school. And Jackie asked me to talk a little bit about Wink of Stella. So this is a fun little pen that we sell at Stampin' Up, and I think it's often overlooked. It's a great little tool, and it's a great upsell because the price point is so small, but it adds a lot of bang for your buck. So in this video today, I want to talk about what to do when you get your Wink of Stella pen first. And then I want to talk about different ways that you can use it, which include just adding shimmer right over whatever you're coloring, watercoloring with it using just your regular ink pad or using watercolor pencils. I want to talk about splattering with it. I want to talk about how to add color with splatter, how to clean it, how you can use it with embossing folders, and just give you a few ideas of what all you can do with this pen. And I have a little bit of artwork to show you as well of things I've done with it. So if you're ready to learn a little bit about this small but mighty tool, join me down below on my craft table. I promise it won't be a long video. All right, I'll see you guys down there. Okay, so let's just look at the Wink of Stella brush first. This is what it looks like when you get it. And you're going to open it up and you're going to take this black ring off. This is just a spacer, whoops, that they put in it when they ship it so that it doesn't squeeze out all of the liquid accidentally, okay? So then you're going to put this right back on, twist that lid on, and then pull it off. And this is what your Wink of Stella brush is going to look like. And you're going to want to shake it up. I'll do this. I don't want to make the camera go crazy. But you're going to want to shake it for a little bit because this is glitter in a solution. And so, of course, glitter is going to be heavier and it's going to settle. So let me shake it off the camera a little. But you're going to get it going. And then what you want to do is you want to slowly press here where it says push. And you're going to get the ink flowing, and you're going to see it, let's see, you'll see it start to come down because the nib is just white, and it's going to start looking, oh, see that? I'll pull it closer. See the ink starting to come, the shimmer? Whoops, and there you go. Okay, so you've got your Wink of Stella brush. Now, this has a lot of liquid on it, and you don't want that much liquid when you're getting going, because the Wink of Stella is a liquid, so it's going to make your paper kind of warp a little, so you want less. So I like doing it on a block because I then am not going to waste any of this ink. I'm going to be able to come back in, move it around, re-wet it, and use it. So that's how you get your Wink of Stella started, and you can see it's on there, so I can pull some of that off. All right. Let me get some projects now for us. Okay, so look at this card. So cute, made with the coneflower set and perfectly adorable just as it is. Did a little ink blending right up here on the coneflower, but how fun would it be to add a little sparkle? So let me just show you how easy that is. So the card is all put together, and I think I'm just going to add a little bit of sparkle to the little top of the flower. Just get a little bit on there. And I'm actually just following the imprint from the die cut. So I'm not doing the entire thing, just a little. And you see how I did not have to re-ink up the Wink of Stella? That is because there's so much ink on there. But then what I'm going to do is I am just going to also add some sparkle going right down the top. I'm going to pick up a little more of that color. Right down the top of the flower. Now, I also want you to notice that as I pull out farther, the Wink of Stella gets thinner. So it gets lighter, almost producing an ombre effect. And that's one of the fun things you can get by having the Wink of Stella liquid on your block. So I'm just going to pull it down like that and add a little bit of shimmer. So let me get it close so you guys can see. You see that? It just added just the teeniest little bit of shimmer to your card. Now it's going to dry, and when it dries, it's not going to smear. Now, another thing you can do if you wanted, you can highlight a sentiment. So I'm going to swirl this around because you can see it kind of tries to dry a little bit. And then make sure I don't have too much on there. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is sometimes I just do a really soft line right under my sentiment. Just like that. Okay, so that is just a really simple, easy way, I think you guys can see it, to add a fun amount of sparkle to your card. So let's look at this card now. This card was made, stamped with just our regular Stampin' Up! Ink pads, and then colored with the Stampin' Blend alcohol marker. And let's see what it does, okay? So it's thoroughly dry. I put this card together a couple weeks ago, so it is thoroughly dry. So let me zoom in a little so you can see. So I am just gonna add a little sparkle right over the Stampin' Blends. And what you're gonna notice is that I am not adding too much, and I am not keeping the pen on it very long, because the regular Stampin' Up! Ink pads, they're water-based, so it is easy for this to blend and smear. So I am sticking to going over where the Stampin' Blends marker is, the alcohol marker, and I'm not going over where I stamped the pecan pie because it would blend. But let's, just for fun, go right over the leaves and see what happens. So like I said, this is kind of an experiment with you guys. I stamped this card well over 2 weeks ago, so it has had plenty of time to dry. And let's see what it looks like. What a fun addition this is going to be to elevate this card. It is just a fabulous, fabulous product we carry that doesn't cost very much at all, but it elevates your artwork and your customers' artwork, and once they see you using it, they're going to want it. Okay, so let's look at it closely. It's hard to get on there. Look at that shimmer, it just adds. And look, it does not seem to be, do I need a little more light? Let's see if that shows it a little more. Doesn't seem to be smearing. Okay, now, oh, look at that. Pretty, right? Okay, now let's do something else that's really fun. You can also splatter with it. So I'm going to pick up a little bit, and I like to use my bone folder and just add a little bit of splatter. And of course, the closer you go, the smaller your splatters are going to be. But I'm just going to add a little. And then if you wanted bigger splatters, of course, you could squeeze more out and pick up a lot and go farther away. But I'm not going to do that. Let's pick it up and see if the light will show. There it is. Look at that. How pretty is that? Okay. I hope it's there. Okay, so that is watercoloring. Well, sorry, no, that is using the Wink of Stella over a stamped image that you've used your Stampin' Blends on, and then just splattering with the Wink of Stella. Okay, and then this is just strictly, remember, coloring right over a die cut image that some ink was sponged on. All right, now let's talk about watercoloring. Okay, now let's talk about watercoloring with your Wink of Stella. And it is one of my favorite things to do. And I am going to show you two different ways right now. The first way I'm going to show you is using watercolor pencils, which these are a favorite way that I color. Every one of my friends and customers knows that I love coloring. Coloring is one of my favorite things, and so using watercolor pencils and your Wink of Stella is a great way to get a very pretty look. So I'm just going to do a little bit on here. My watercolor pencils aren't exactly the ones that Stampin' Up! Carries, because when I came over from Close to My Heart, I already had a couple of sets, so I haven't reinvested in the ones that Stampin' Up! Carries, but I will eventually. But watercolor pencils are a lot the same. You're basically using a pencil that's going to react with water to give you a very soft colored look. And what you can see is that I am not being careful. I'm getting a lot of brush marks and strokes on here, but I just wanted to get a bit of color onto my flower. And then I am going to add it a little bit darker in certain areas. So I'm going to add a little extra to the center, and I'm going to follow the outline of the flowers a little bit, but I really hope you can see that I am not being fussy about it at all. I am just getting some color on there, okay? So get some watercolor pencil, and this, okay, I'm going to rotate it a little bit. Okay, and then I think we'll go in with the equivalent of Pretty Peacock. Okay, so I just colored one flower, and I'm going to color a couple of the leaves. So real softly, just get a little bit of a little bit of colored pencil on there. So this is a very, very forgiving technique, and the Wink of Stella makes it even more forgiving because the shimmer that you are going to put on with the Wink of Stella really helps blend and hide things. So I'm just going to do part of the flower, and then of course I'm going to go in and I'm going to push a little bit harder and get a little more of the color on there. So I'm sure many of you have used your watercolor pencils, and you probably used them with your water brush, which I have one laying around here somewhere. But the Wink of Stella just can be used in place of that water brush, because not only does it blend it, but it adds that layer of really pretty shimmer on top as well. Okay, so I'm going to grab my Wink of Stella, shake it up, and I'm going to, let's see, I don't have any scratch paper, I'll just use this. I'm just going to check it. Actually, I'll just use my block. I want to make sure that I have a good amount but not too much on there. Okay, and then I am going to start in the center where it's darkest, and I'm just going to quickly go over the dark areas with the Wink of Stella, and I hope that I am zoomed in enough that you guys can see how it's starting to blend. Then go off on my block maybe and get a little of that color off. Then I'm just going to go in the lighter area, and I'm going to go over it rather quickly, because remember what I said about paper and water blending and getting rippled a little bit. Okay, so let me hold that up for you guys to see. Look how pretty that blended. So up close you can see all of the lines from the colored pencil. So now I'm going to take my exact same Wink of Stella, and I'm just going to clean it off. See, no color is really on there. And I'm going to do the exact same thing with the leaves, and I'm focusing on the darker part first because it's going to blend the color out. And so I want all the darker to stay where I want. I don't want to pull a huge amount of the dark up the leaves. Then I'm going to go over the rest of the leaf kind of quickly, and you can kind of see how it pulls it out. By the way, I stamped this with Memento black ink and let it dry a little. I feel like my wink is getting a little bit dry. Oops. So I'm going to squeeze on where it says push, give it a little shake, give it a little squeeze. Oop, now I got way too much. See, that's what happens when you squeeze too much. So I can take a little off, okay? And then I'm going to feel it out and see if that's a good amount. That's an okay amount on there. Okay. And just quickly color in the rest of the leaves. Okay, so that is one way that you can watercolor with your Wink of Stella. So that's different from this card, because this card I was just adding color. I was doing spotlight of shimmer onto something that already was inked and die cut. This is actually watercoloring with it, so that is the difference, kind of spotlighting and then watercoloring. But let's say you wanted to actually do some watercoloring. I like to do my watercoloring with a block rather than on my glass mat. So I'm just gonna pick up some strawberry slush, and I chose this color because it's contrasted to this purple, so you'd be able to see it really well. But I'm gonna take my Wink of Stella right in there. I'm gonna pick up a lot, and since I had too much over there, I'm gonna pick up a little more, and I'm gonna do some blending out. And then you can actually watercolor just as if you were using a water brush. But you're gonna see that it's not gonna be exactly the same bright pink you would get maybe with just a water brush, because it's got this shimmer built in. Now, so that's watercoloring with it, just like the water brush, but then you can go in and grab concentrated areas of it to get another layer of pink in there, or whatever color you're using. So I'm going to go in and add kind of that second layer right over it by not diluting it out at all. So you can also do that if you don't have watercolor pencils and you don't want to do two steps in coloring with your water brush and then adding Wink of Stella over it. You can just simply watercolor with the Wink of Stella. So let me show you. I'm going to move that out of the way. Let me show you the finished card when it's only one color. So just a quick and simple card showing how pretty that looks. Let's see if I can get, there you go. When you use watercolor pencils and the Wink of Stella, and it makes you look just like a genius in coloring. And if you have watercolor pencils but you don't have like all the markers, watercolor pencils are a much cheaper investment at first. You can color and make dazzling designs. Okay, now let's talk about another technique, splattering. So you can use Wink of Stella in scrapbooking. That is absolutely no problem at all. I'm going to put this over here and protect some of my stuff I have over here. You can do watercoloring with you can use Wink of Stella in scrapbooking. The thing I would caution you about is making sure you've allowed it to dry thoroughly before you slip it in your page protector, because it is going to dry and it's not going to flake off like glitter would, and you're going to have a beautiful shimmer and it won't add any bulk. One of my favorite ways is to get a good amount of shimmer on my block, and either you can use it, I've already shown you my splattering that I did on a card over here, this one, with just the pure shimmer brush. But let's say you wanted to splatter with a color. So you can just pick up that color and tap away. Now you can get real close, okay, like that. And you probably, I don't know how much it's showing up, and you can get farther away and get bigger drops in splattering. But you can stay real close and get a concentrated area on your layout. And then here's what you're going to end up with. I'm going to hold it up so you can see. On your scrapbook page, you're going to have that subtle, beautiful shimmer, and you can do it in any color you want with your Wink of Stella. And I just do it on a block, and you don't even need to use as much as I did. Let me see if I can pull the light down and show you. I just wanted you guys to really be able to see it on camera. So this is my favorite way to use it in scrapbooking, is splattering. And then my favorite way to use it in card making is watercoloring, but then also just spotlighting different areas of the card by adding the shimmer is also quite beautiful, or just coloring right over cardstock just to give it that extra shine is a wonderful way to do it as well. Okay, I have another fun thing I want to show you guys. I want to show you that it would be really fun to use with embossing folders, and not in the way you think. So this is one of our new embossing folders that we just got with the Creativity Now event, and this is what it looks like embossed. It's a 3D embossing folder, and I think it works really well with the 3D embossing folders. So this is the embossed side, and then this is the debossed side, which sinks down. So what I want to do is clean off my Wink of Stella, just so you guys can see. Just gently getting all the color off, pulling it, squeeze a little. So when you watercolor this way, it can be a little bit wasteful. So it's really up to you. There we go. Get most of that off. Okay, so a fun thing you can do is you can add, this is a very detailed one. I'm going to hold it up so you can see. This is a very detailed embossing folder, but depending on how tedious you want to be and how much time you want to spend, you could easily add shimmer into that debossed space, because it's a perfect little place for your Wink of Stella to go and add shimmer. So this would be a beautiful technique like for a wedding card, anniversary card, but you can see just adding that sparkle right in that debossed area is just pretty. So let me show you what I did. Here's a finished card, and it's using this exact embossing folder and then the Wink of Stella. Hoping you guys can see it okay. The Wink of Stella is in there, and it just gives it this beautiful shimmer effect everywhere around the whole card. Look at that. It looks like inlaid glitter. Isn't that pretty? I love it. So just another thing that you could do with it. Now this is going to be a sneak peek and maybe the last thing, because I want to give you an idea of another way to use it in scrapbooking. And like I said, just a sneak peek. But here is part of a layout, and you can see that this is the new alphabet set. Oh, I can't think of what, oh, I have it right here. Let me pull this back. Let's talk about what it's called. Oh, the Party Alphabet Dies. Okay, it's the new Party Alphabet Die set, and this happens to be just one of the letters. Look how big it is. And you can see this letter is embossed. How pretty would it be to add the Wink of Stella right over that and then let it fully dry before you slip it in your scrapbook page. In your page protector. That is just another idea. So, as you can see, there's lots and lots of things you can do with the Wink of Stella. You can do really basic things, just add shimmer. You could do tone on tone shimmer, which is kind of what you see with the splattering. You can add shimmer to an already colored image. You can do splattering in the background. You can watercolor with it using watercolor pencils. You can watercolor with it just using a block and picking it up like you would with a water brush. You can splatter with it for a scrapbook page. I've already, just like this. And you can splatter with it using picking up ink from any of your Stampin' colors and splatter with it for a background of a page. Lots of different ways to use it, but just keep in mind that when you first get it out of the box, you have to take off that black ring, squeeze the ink down, and you're ready to go and to create away. Oh, and then you can also just color right on top of cardstock, or you can spotlight a sentiment by adding a little swipe of shimmer right below it. You could even do the shimmer right over it, but it just elevates your artwork really quickly and inexpensively. So I hope you guys learned some things about Wink of Stella, and if you have any questions at all, let me know. They don't recommend trying to refill them with anything, although I know people have, but since they don't recommend it, I am not going to recommend it. I'm just going to say that you use it until it runs out and then you get a new one. So thanks for watching and letting me share a little bit about a product that I really, really enjoy from our product line. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.